O Mangum Mestyruim. O Mangum Mestyruim by Giovanni Gabrieli. Now the title of this work is Latin, but in fact you can certainly guess at what it means. Take a look at the last word. It looks a little bit like the English word mystery, doesn't it? And take a look at the second word. It looks like the English word magnum, as in a magnum of champagne, a big bottle of champagne. It means big or great. And you certainly have a pretty good idea of what the first word means. O simply means O. That's it. Taken together then, the title means, Oh, what a great mystery. And if you take a look at the text of this composition, you will see that the mystery is the mystery of the Incarnation, because there are mentions in the text of an infant lying in a manger, animals. Basically, it's all about the Nativity. So this is a Christmas composition, or a work for the Christmas season. In terms of genre, this is a polychoral motet. We'll take up each of those words, polychoral and motet, presently. But first, let's take a look at the general cultural context of it. We've already determined that it is a Christmas composition. It is therefore sacred, and it was probably written for use in one of the offices. The word polychoral should be very easy for you to define. You already know that the word or the stem poly means many or more than one. Choral refers to choirs, so taken together it refers to many choirs. And this seems a good way to summarize the performing forces for this monumental work. It uses two each of the following: 2 organs, 2 choirs, and 2 instrumental bands, the very performing forces that were available on a regular basis at the Basilica of San Marco in Venice. Now, motet is a word that you have heard before, and the last time we heard of the motet, we heard of the isorhythmic motet, a polyphonic secular composition of the Middle Ages that had more than one text. Ever since the Renaissance, however, the motet has referred to something else. It is basically a sacred vocal polyphonic work. Since the Renaissance, motets have been monotextual compositions, that is, they have only one text sung at one time, and such compositions were usually paraliturgical. Hey, I think you can define paraliturgical. Liturgical has to do with a ritual, like a church service. Para, as we already know from paraphrase, means beyond. So it's a composition that did not have a specific place within a church service. It wasn't an introit, it wasn't the Kyrie, it wasn't the Gloria, it wasn't an Alleluia. Basically, it was an extra song that was added as some sort of an ornament to a church service. And this work is, in fact, very ornamental indeed. The musical characteristics of this work are already familiar to you. In fact, we described the madrigal that we heard in the very same terms. The polychoral motet displays a variety of textures, and there are certainly plenty of instances of word or text painting within such compositions. So this description of a composition, variety of textures and lots of word and text painting, is one that we have used before. We are using it now, and I promise you we will use it again and again in this course, so make sure that you remember it. This work certainly provides us with an array of textures, including homophony, that kind of texture in which all the voices blend into one and the same sound, free imitation, in which one voice enters after another, imitating only the beginning of a musical idea and then going on its way. Monody, a type of texture that we'll take a look at when we take a look at opera. Don't worry about it right now. Antiphony, that texture in which the music is passed from one group to another and produces an echo effect. And finally, free polyphony, the term that we use to describe textures that don't fit into one of these categories. The brief excerpt that we're going to hear from this work also provides us with two good examples of word or text painting, and both of them occur in the line of the text that deals with lying in the manger. Iacentem in praesepio. Now on the word iacentem, which means lying, the music moves downward, bum ba 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 bum, suggesting reclining or lying. And on the word praesepio, which means manger, there is a strong dissonance. In fact, you'll hear it every single time this word is sung. It's obvious that the composer was thinking very carefully about the meanings of the words here, and in fact, lying in the manger is one of those mysteries of the Incarnation, that a God should appear on earth, not born in a palace, but rather appearing in a very humble place like a manger. So there's obviously something incongruent between the two, and therefore the composer uses dissonance to illustrate this kind of incongruence between the place and the event. The form of this work is very easy to hear because there are in fact actual silences among the sections. The most precise thing that we can say about it in terms of its form is that it is a sectional composition, and that it is composed of several contrasting sections, and each of these sections is determined by lines of the text. And in fact, if you take a look at the text as it is given for you, you can actually count the number of sections that you are going to hear in this composition. A couple of them, the first and the last, will be repeated, but otherwise it's very easy to see exactly where each of these sections is, with a number of examples of very sharp contrast. And you will notice this in changes of texture, changes of tempo, and changes of meter among the sections of this composition. And this is especially easy to see if you take a look at the very last section of the work, the Alleluias at the end of this composition. You have before you a diagram that shows you exactly how all three of these types of contrast are manifested in the last section of the work in the Alleluias. And the first one mentioned in the table is tempo. Take a look at it. At the top of the first group of Alleluias, you see that it is fast, and the Alleluias at the end are slow. And of course, when you hear it, it'll be very easy to tell that the first ones are fast and that the last one is slow. Also represented in the table is an indication of meter. If you take a look at the first Alleluias, you see that the measures are counted out for 3 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that the last Alleluias are cast in measures of 4 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, this very nice diagram shows you the change of texture between the two. You can see very easily toward the beginning of the diagram that the texture is antiphonal. That is, that the music is being passed from one group to another. Alleluia, Alleluia in the first choir is echoed in the second choir. Alleluia, Alleluia, and so on. The music is passed back and forth, the music overlaps, and when you hear it, it will definitely have an echo effect to it. Notice though that the last 2 Alleluias, the voices move together, and they move very slowly in quadruple meter. So what you have here is a very nice way to compare 2 tempos, to compare 2 meters, and to compare 2 textures. This work also offers a very nice, clear example of sequence. You have before you the music for the first line of the work, which you will hear repeated 1 step higher.